Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff plays down unfair comparison with Serena Williams' admission. Coco Gauff has voiced her frustration over what she perceives as unfair comparisons between herself and Canadian teen sensation Victoria Mboko following her unexpected defeat at the National Bank Open. The top-seeded Gauff was taken down 6-1, 6-4 in a swift 82-minute match, missing out on a spot in the quarterfinals. Gauff, 21, seemed to be back on track in Montreal with victories over China's Lin Zhu and Spain's Jessica Buza's Monero. However, since her French Open triumph in May, her record has been less than stellar, with only 2 wins against 3 losses. When asked post-match if she saw any parallels between herself and Mboko, the tennis star was visibly irritated. "I've never been one to compare myself to others," she retorted. "Whether it be people comparing me to Serena or Venus, and I don't think it's fair to put that on her as well. She's a completely different player, completely different person." Despite this, Gauff did acknowledge the potential of the 18-year-old Mboko, stating, "I do see someone who is going to have a really bright future, for sure. She's very athletic. She's a great ball striker, and she seems pretty positive out there on the court, doesn't get really too negative." In their only prior encounter, Gauff bested the world number 85 at the Italian Open. Now, after her surprising loss, the American is eager for an opportunity to even the score. Gauff shared her thoughts on the budding relationship with her fellow competitor, saying, "I've gone to talk to her a little bit over the course since Rome. I think she has a great support system around her, and I think that's important when you're young and on tour. Hopefully, we have many more battles, and I look forward to playing her again in the future." Mboko, seizing the opportunity presented by 24 unforced errors from the world number 2, expressed her gratitude during her on-court interview. She praised the 2-time slam champion and showed appreciation for the crowd's energy, stating, "Your support was incredible," and continued, "I'm really happy to win today. It's incredible. I'm so happy to beat such a great champion." Coco Gauff stood at the edge of the court, the stadium lights painting a halo around her sweat-soaked frame. The crowd roared, some in admiration of her power, others out of nostalgia, because every time she struck the ball with fierce precision or let out a roar after a point, whispers inevitably circled, "She's the next Serena Williams." But Gauff, now 21 and already a Grand Slam champion, doesn't hear it the way the world thinks she does. Or rather, she's learned to tune it out. In a recent press conference that followed yet another emphatic win, a journalist posed that question again. "Do you feel you're living up to Serena Williams' legacy?" Gauff smiled, polite but firm, her voice calm. "Serena is Serena. I'm Coco," she said. "I think the comparisons are flattering, but they're also unfair, not just to me, but to Serena too." It wasn't the first time she'd had to say it, and probably wouldn't be the last. But this time, there was something different, a clarity in her tone, a sense of self that didn't need validation through association. For Coco Gauff, the shadow of Serena had become less of a weight and more of a canopy, something that had sheltered her in the beginning, but which she now needed to step out from to grow fully into her own identity. The burden of greatness. From the moment Coco broke onto the scene at Wimbledon in 2019 as a 15-year-old, toppling Venus Williams in the first round, the comparisons began. Headlines screamed, "The next Serena," and social media lit up with side-by-side highlight reels, the explosive forehands, the athletic footwork, the fierce demeanor on court. But what the world often forgets is that Coco Gauff is not just an athlete. She's a teenager growing into womanhood under the unforgiving glare of public scrutiny. To be constantly measured against a 23-time Grand Slam champion is not just daunting, it's dehumanizing. "People forget how long Serena played, how much she evolved," Coco once said. "They look at me at 17, 18, and expect that same level of dominance." But Serena wasn't Serena at 18. She became Serena through years of hard work and resilience. The individual and the icon. Serena Williams is not just a tennis legend, she is a cultural icon. She transformed the sport, not just with her play, but with her presence. A black woman dominating a historically white, upper-class sport, Serena stood tall against racism, sexism, and relentless media scrutiny. She was not merely a player, she was a movement. Gauff knows this and reveres it. "There wouldn't be a me if there wasn't a Serena. That's the truth," she said in an earlier interview. "But I want to write my own story." That story is already unfolding. Gauff's path is distinct. She's more outspoken politically at a younger age, more visible on social media, and attuned to Gen Z activism. At 16, she delivered a powerful speech at a Black Lives Matter rally in her hometown. At 19, she spoke candidly about mental health, pressure, and the emotional toll of early fame. Now, in her 20s, she is emerging not just as a player to watch, but as a voice to heed. Redefining the blueprint. There's an unwritten expectation that every great black female tennis player must inherit Serena's torch. But what if Gauff isn't carrying that torch? What if she's lighting her own? Her game, while drawing some stylistic comparisons to Serena's, has its own fingerprint. Coco's backhand is one of the most technically refined in the sport. Her movement, court coverage, and increasingly aggressive net play show a tactical maturity that's all her own. Her path has had bumps, early losses, critics questioning her serve or her mental fortitude, but each time, she's responded not by mimicking greatness, but by learning, adjusting, and getting stronger. And in doing so, she's carving a space that allows for nuance, one where a black female tennis star doesn't have to be a copy of a predecessor to be recognized. Freedom in identity. When Gauff says the comparisons are unfair, what she's really expressing is a desire for freedom, to play, to grow, to stumble, to rise, all on her own terms. It's not rejection of Serena's legacy. Quite the opposite. It's a reverent nod, coupled with a healthy boundary. She's not looking to fill anyone's shoes. She's wearing her own. In an era where individuality is increasingly celebrated, where Naomi Osaka can speak openly about anxiety, where Carlos Alcaraz can play with joyful unpredictability, Gauff's stance is both timely and timeless. She represents a new generation of athletes who refuse to be boxed in by expectation or legacy. A future unwritten. As the interview wrapped up and the press buzzed with her Serena comments, Gauff walked off stage and into the tunnel. There, in the quiet before the locker room, she exhaled. There will always be comparisons. That's the nature of sport, of media, of people hungry for narrative. But Gauff's job isn't to fit the storyline. It's to write a new one. And in that story, there is room for admiration without imitation, legacy without limitation, and greatness on her own, unapologetic terms. Postscript. Coco Gauff may have grown up watching Serena Williams, but she's not growing into her. She's growing into Coco, and for the sport of tennis, for young girls watching around the world, and for the arc of progress in women's athletics, that's more than enough.